Welcome back to the Dry Fast Experience podcast and testimonial. Today is April 17th, and it's the morning of day one. I decided to start a day earlier. And Lord willing, I will reach day 14, and there will be many more updates to come. I am very grateful to Yahawah and Yahawashi to be able to do this and share this experience. And my hope is that by sharing this, it will be helpful to you in your walk. Right now, I'm feeling a little hungry, a little headachy. Upon waking up, it's not surprising since I've only eaten 2 meals in the past 3 days as part of my preparation for the extended dry fast. But what I'm experiencing now is not anything debilitating. Usually within the first 5 to 7 days of a dry fast, I've found that for me, now, I can carry on a fairly normal life. It's this way because I have completed so many dry fasts that the intense hunger pangs, hunger pangs, which I used to get just from skipping one meal, let alone fasting for 1 to 3 days, I don't get those anymore. They no longer happen, which has led me to believe that this type of toxic hunger has a parasitic source or root at its nature, and it resides specifically in the stomach or is sort of a fungal-ish mucousy coating that spreads out through the stomach. There's a lot of other experiences I've had in the past that have brought me to this conclusion, but I'll say that for now, the closest thing that I have to those hunger pangs is sort of a dull pain that resides lower inside of my gut, which I perceive that now to be a cry by whatever parasites are left and that continue to survive in my body. That is their cry for food or way of kind of stimulating the host to get more food, more water, whatever else. I don't have the intense mental signals I used to have to eat, and I don't have any food cravings anymore. I hope that makes sense. If you've never dry fasted before, this probably isn't going to make a lot of sense to you. Last night, I juiced a few lemons. Lemons are great, they're very alkalizing for the body. I also took a hydrogen peroxide bath, which those are also fantastic too. They're very alkalizing for the body by way of the additional oxygen atom, but it is very reactive. It neutralizes acid quickly and in great volumes, such that the heat that's released from that reaction can burn you, especially if you're very acidic. You will feel it. I use food grade for my baths. If I drink it very diluted, obviously. I'm feeling good in my gut as a result from the 2 castor oil cleanses yesterday, which seemed to clear out the last 2 meals I had on Friday and Saturday. The frozen castor oil experiment has been a success for me. It's cleared out different patches of candida lower down in the gut from what I can feel and observed. I do have these burning acid cramps that come in and out. Everyone with a bad parasite infection intestinally has had these, but in this context, I take it as a very good sign. It means that I'm offloading a lot of parasitic and acidic waste, and yes, it does burn on the way out. This all mirrors experiences that I've had in the past, dry fasting and other types of detoxing that I've done. In fact, it has been one of my greatest challenges, such that so much acidic waste is being dumped that at times can become unbearable. From hearing other men's testimonials, not everyone has this problem, but I do because I have a deep fungal overgrowth. It's like having an internal factory that is nonstop churning out toxic acidic waste that your body has to deal with or eliminate or do its best to manage. Also, I will say that detox via dry fasting, usually around day 5 or 6, my urine, which has already become fairly dark, becomes acidic to the point of burning on the way out. And I often pass what appear to be tiny uric acid crystals. They're like hot burning stones. It does feel awful at the time, but better out than in. My tongue, which normally has a white thrush coating, especially on the back, has gotten more intense this morning. I've noticed this happens when Candida fungus is either being removed from my body in large amounts or it is growing and entrenching further. Mold does the same thing, but the tongue discoloration is black and it's less of a coating, it's more of a staining. Really quickly, one of the things that has helped with that in the past is niacin flushing, and I can speak more on that later. My tongue has been one of the most helpful tools because it gives me a very quick reading on the internal state of my body, even within minutes after having eaten certain type of food or taken a supplement. It gets reflected in the tongue. It's very helpful to get a gauge on what you're eating and how it is infecting, how it is affecting your body internally. I posted on this topic a couple times, so be sure to check those out if you're interested in learning more. You can also just do an image search online for tongue analysis charts with traditional Chinese medicine. That should give you a lot of really helpful resources. They're not all going to look the same, but if you look at, 10 or 15 of those, you'll get a pretty good idea and you can compare that to the condition of your tongue as you move forward. All parts of the body do this to some extent. They reflect what is going on internally, which ultimately is a reflection of what's happening spiritually. And it really is a beautiful aspect to Yahawah's creation of our physical form. My gut is more noticeably reduced. I believe that the acidic waste was being held in place by a fungus, and the two of those together was causing an inflammatory reaction, hence the gut. My gut appeared within the last 3 months. I've never had that before in my life. And from the circumstances surrounding its appearance and how it happened, it really became apparent to me that it was fungus having overtaken a greater portion of my intestine and then just stagnating a bunch of toxic acidic waste in that area. I slept for about 5 hours last night, which is good. It's on the lower side, but it's expected because of the cleansing prep work from the past 3 days and consuming very little food. It has been difficult to fall asleep under ideal circumstances. It takes maybe about 15 minutes, and I sleep for 5 to 7 hours. Over the past couple of days, my sleep has been broken up at times, um, and on the lower side. This is par for the course, though, with detoxing, prep work, and fasting. I expect my sleep to become even more difficult as time goes on and much less. So my sleep typically drops down to about 1 to 2 hours per night towards the later portion of longer dry fast, but I'm also not tired from sleeping less either. My take on it is that the body doesn't need as much sleep because it's cleared out most of the surface level toxins at least, and I'll speak more on that in the future. Another challenging piece that goes hand in hand with the change in sleeping patterns is crippling boredom and perceiving time as passing very slowly. Often I've found, especially as I progress beyond day 3 in a dry fast, is I don't get satisfied or joyful from anything other than being outside in nature, meditating on gratitude, or having spiritual conversations with other people. And in fact, later on, I really just want to be alone. I don't want to be around any other people. It's almost that It's like I become disgusted by anything that is not natural or spiritual, which is very interesting. Um, Maybe disgusted isn't the right word, but kind of just repelled might be a better way to put it, depending on obviously the content of the material. If it's very like graphic or violent or sexual or pornographic, then it is. In fact, I do find that disgusting, especially later on in the dry fast. I've started to theorize that the boredom has some sort of demonic aspect to it at its core, parasitic, demonic. This is not some spooky or scary thing. It's just the reality of the world that we live in. If you sin, a lot of times you can get negative demonic energies thrown on you. We all have these, and all negative thoughts, I believe, I'm starting to theorize, have a demonic source in nature. And as I've written about in previous posts, we all have these from hangovers, so to speak, hangover sins from previous lives. The more you cleanse and fast and detox and repent, the more obvious this relationship becomes. This hasn't been something that just came to me all at once. It has been a theory that has sort of developed and come to me over months and years, but it really has demystified this process and made the spiritual aspects of it just a lot more mundane and routine. It's not this sort of scary Hollywood crap. It's just the reality of the way that Yahawah created the world that we live in and how it functions and how um, sin can bring demonic oppression and affliction onto people. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I'll speak to you in the next update, hopefully this afternoon or tomorrow morning.